I want to highlight a few surveys which specifically look at corruption as an issue and anti-corruption, which can be used in this context. Transparency International used to publish the Bribe Payer Index. So that was a survey of business executives asking about their experiences in paying bribes, so that they have to, did they not, in what contexts, and so on. It was published in 1999, 2002, 2006, 2008, and 2011. But unfortunately, it was discontinued since. But you will still find quite a bit of research, sort of older research, which uses the Bribe Payer Index. Then the next one, and I will talk a bit more about this in a minute, is the Transparency International Global Corruption Barometer. It's a large global survey of people's experiences with corruption. It's published, it was published annually between 2003 and 2007, then in 2009, 2010, 11, 2013, and then the last round was recently published in 2015, 16, and 17. The Global Corruption Barometer actually inspired quite a lot of researchers, especially the 2013 edition, which covered 114,000 people in 107 countries, was actually quite widely used and really provided a lot of grounds for anti-corruption research. But as you can see, it was only 1 year, so it's not really great for doing trends analysis or anything like this, but only gave snapshots of countries and allowed for cross-country comparisons. The Global Corruption Barometer, or GCB, it covers experiences and opinions on corruption, and also it asks about the willingness to act against corruption. Two more surveys, which I'll highlight in a bit, are surveys published by the Quality of Government Institute of the University of Gothenburg. This is one expert survey that the Quality of Government Institute publishes, and then also the EQI dataset, so the European Quality of Government Index, which I'll talk about later. The sort of big advantage that you have when you look at the Global Corruption Barometer is that it's a very large sample and includes many countries. The questions really focus on personal experiences and opinions and delivers quite interesting results, both on an aggregate level but also on a country level, that really give you a snapshot of what people's experiences are with corruption. But for researchers, the GCB also holds a lot of issues. The researchers of the GCB changed some of the wordings in the questions in the different editions, so that makes tracking over time really almost impossible. So you have to pay attention that when you compare questions on a certain issue, that the questions are phrased in the same way. Otherwise, comparing results from 1 year to the next year can be difficult. There are some hypothetical questions, so basically questions looking at if and would. And these, as well as non-specific questions which are asked in the GCB, are difficult to analyze because basically the answers are not very reliable. The GCB includes very few explanatory variables, so it doesn't ask people about their economic satisfaction, for example, or the way they consume media, which would be interesting for our research, but it doesn't say anything about this. So it's hard to do analysis on this. The countries that are included in GCB changed over time, as well as the time frame between the surveys. So this unfortunately also makes them tricky to use. Also, I found it a bit difficult to find the data for the most recent edition, so we can hope that some more of the data will be published later. The two more surveys which I already mentioned that I want to highlight as well are the QOG surveys, so the Quality of Government Institute surveys. They have one expert survey, which is a web-based survey of 1,294 experts, published for 159 countries. So quite a good data set of expert assessments. They ask specific questions on corruption and on the quality of government and provide you some expert assessments to work with. Again, obviously here you're relying on some expert assessments, but still it's a worthwhile resource to look at. Also, what is an interesting score or an interesting survey that is published by the Quality of Government Institute is the European Quality of Government Index. It's a large household survey on the quality of government and also on corruption, and was published in 2010, 2013, and 2017. The questions that are asked are actually quite interesting in many cases, and what is really good about this data is that it includes regional data on EU member states. The 2013 edition also includes Serbia and Turkey. So rather than just comparing countries, the EQI allows you to compare different regions and compare regional differences in which in some countries can be quite big. Because actually when you look at, for example, countries like Italy, the north of Italy and the south of Italy have very big differences in corruption levels, at least when you refer to surveys, but also usually when you refer to other types of data.